CNN just tried to defend Donald Trump not once, but twice, and it backfired instantly. With the shocking unraveling of the Jeffrey Epstein files making Trump look worse by the day, CNN picked the absolute worst time to cozy up to Republicans. They pulled a complete 180, even suggesting people were being too harsh on Trump, and the backlash was immediate. So stick around to see the 2 clips of this CNN host defending Trump, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. Now, I'm not sure why CNN thought that the Epstein case, of all things, was the best place to play devil's advocate, but they could have not picked a worse time to abandon reality. Because just yesterday, another huge bombshell dropped with the release of even more documents relating to the Epstein files. While most are awkward family photos and letters, Donald Trump is now under scrutiny for this newly released image. In this picture taken from Epstein's house, he is seen with a massive check given to him by Donald Trump. Now, Trump is once again unusually silent after this image was released, but if I'm being honest, I don't think I even want to know what Trump was writing $22,000 checks to Epstein for. What I do want to know is how Republicans think that they can talk their way out of this one. So far, most Republicans are just pretending that this new photo doesn't even exist. In fact, they're still trying to convince us that Trump didn't actually sign that creepy birthday card that came out last week. Despite the fact that we are already long past worrying about Trump's signature, Republicans are still trying to fight about it and claim that Trump has zero connection to Epstein. And in one of the worst publicity backfires ever, CNN just tried to support Republicans in these obvious lies. In an insane new interview this morning, Republican Pete Sessions went on CNN and said that for now, we should all just trust that President Trump would never lie to anyone. If he says that he didn't write the Epstein letter, we should all just believe him, because Trump is the most believable person of all. Now, I would expect to hear this from a Republican, but I did not expect to hear CNN's anchor go along with it. The host, John Berman, gives the most understanding and sincere interview ever, not even once calling out Republicans for helping Trump's cover-up.
Well, it's hard for me to know what the last 4 presidents have looked at in this whole issue. It is brand new to Congress to begin its review of the documents and ask questions. The presidents probably worked through this a long time ago. They had the knowledge, they had the data, they had the information. He can draw a conclusion after 6 months. I have not drawn that conclusion yet.
Does it look like his signature to you on the bottom of that letter?
You know, we're looking at that. We're also looking at people who are gathering together his signature at the time. And that's what we need to pay attention to. We've been provide the information. Now what we need to do is draw our own conclusion.
So to you, it's an open question about whether that's his signature on this document.
Well, evidently the president, who was not under oath, stated it was not his. The White House has stated that. So we will start from that perspective unless proven otherwise. But this is simply a small part of the entire questions. We need to put together this information. Why did the last, in essence, 4 presidents not move forward on this? Where is the evidence? What is the scope of the entire matter? And we're still looking at that. We've had them now about 10 days. John, and I will tell you, we are beginning what will be a bipartisan effort, but it is not aimed at Donald Trump.
Understood.
It's aimed at the truth. How did these things happen? So I know people want to go specifically to Donald Trump, and there's a lot of drumbeat on the Hill by my colleagues that are Democrats to do that. We're after the larger sense to answer questions.
I've been disappointed in news organizations before, but Republicans are leading potentially the biggest cover-up in this country's history. I expected at least a few tough questions for someone working with the evidence in Congress. But no, apparently, John Berman was just saving all of his energy to attack the Democrats who are trying to move this case forward. You see, right before Pete Sessions was on air, Berman interviewed Democratic Congressman Dave Min, and right out the gates, this was a completely different interview. Berman literally starts questioning by saying that he thinks there's nothing connecting Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein, and if that wasn't bad enough, he even says that we should all just remember that Ghislaine Maxwell said that Trump was innocent, as if anyone believes anything Ghislaine Maxwell had to say.
Again, I do want to say we have no reason to think that he was in any way involved with that check itself. Also, no reason to think he's connected to any wrongdoing involving Jeffrey Epstein. You noted, you're a prosecutor, you're a lawyer here. There's this defamation.
I would say we have lots of reasons to think he was involved in wrongdoing. I mean, at this point, there's a lot of smoke. There may be some fire, but I would just push back and say I think there's a lot of reason to think Donald Trump was involved.
Involved with what? I'm sorry, what exactly, what proof do you have that he was involved with wrongdoing in regards to Jeffrey Epstein? And if that's the case, why have there been no prosecutions over 20 years here? Because there haven't really been any allegations that he was involved with wrongdoing.
There are a lot of connections where Donald Trump was named, right? We had a 14-year-old claiming that she was raped by him, then withdrew that claim after she was apparently threatened. His name appears a lot, and again, we at this point, our job is to find justice for these survivors, and that means that we need to continue digging, knowing that there is a cover-up taking place right now. And I didn't say that we have proof. At this point, we have like a lot of smoke. But Donald Trump's name is clearly mentioned multiple times. We've seen him lie over and over about things that we now know to be true. So again, I think that we, as the Oversight Committee, we owe an obligation to the girls, the American people out there, to keep digging and find out the truth, whoever's involved.
Again, Donald Trump has not been named in any connection or charged with any wrongdoing there. Ghislaine Maxwell, take this for what it is, but Ghislaine Maxwell said, she never saw Donald Trump or anyone, for that matter, engaged in any wrongdoing connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Dave Midd, Congressman from California.
I will just point out that Ghislaine Maxwell was indicted for perjury after she made that statement that you mentioned, transferred to minimum security prison in Texas. So, again.
Look, Speaker Johnson sat right here and told me he doesn't really believe anything Ghislaine Maxwell says. I was merely stating what was in that transcript, but there are plenty of people on both sides of the aisle who don't put much weight in it. Congressman Dave Midd, thanks so much.
CNN literally just tried to thread the needle on the Jeffrey Epstein case. Of all the political problems we have in this country, can you believe that CNN would try to appeal to Republicans by defending the president from his connections to the Epstein files? Well, people across the country already can't believe it and have started attacking CNN relentlessly for it. Or more specifically, the internet has turned on John Berman. Here is John Berman trying his best to cover for Trump. This is a disgrace. John Berman is a national disgrace. There's no reason to think that John Berman is involved in any journalism with CNN. And probably my favorite of all, well, if you can't trust Ghislaine Maxwell, who was convicted and sentenced to 20 years for crimes against children, who can you trust, right, John Berman? You can't get more brutal than that. But in all seriousness, each day, more and more evidence is surfacing in relation to this case, and even more related to Donald Trump. I think now, more than ever, CNN should be sticking up to the facts in front of us, not worrying about Republicans' feelings. But let me know what you think. Was CNN going easy on Republicans, or do we not need to worry about Trump writing letters and massive checks to criminal billionaires like John Berman suggests? Comment your thoughts down below, and please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more.